friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about paper clutter. We're going to talk about how to declutter paper and set up a system to make you successful so you don't have to deal with amounts of paper ever again. Let's go. My first tip, and probably the most important that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, is stopping the paper from coming in. This is the easiest way so it doesn't get out of control and makes the biggest long-lasting change is if you can stop some of the paper coming in. So my first tip is magazines. If you love magazines and read them, then that's great. But if you don't read magazines, stop the subscriptions. Don't add them to your to-do list of things you have to read. So stop the magazines coming in. The next is catalogs. I don't get a lot of catalogs anymore, but I used to, and you can actually go on most websites and unsubscribe so they don't send you any catalogs, or you can email the companies, or a lot of times you can just call a number on the back of the magazine and call and ask to be removed from the list. This is also a great way to not impulse buy just because you get a catalog in the mail and you see something you didn't know you needed and you then order something. So it helps you with that too, and not going over your budget for certain items. So if you can reduce the amount of catalogs, that's just great, and then you don't have the trash piling up that you don't need either. The next way I also reduce the paper coming in is when I go to stores, a lot of times they will ask you if you want a printed receipt or an e-receipt. I usually just get an e-receipt, and it's usually sent to your email, and then I just have a folder in my email for receipts, so I can just go ahead and save it right there. I always have it, and if I need to return something to a store, it's already on my phone in my email. So then that just saves you one less thing to keep at home and have to worry about where you stuck it. So the next tip to avoid more paper coming in is sign up for auto pay for your bills, as many as possible, so that they'll just email you a bill and you can just pay online, so you don't have any paper from that. Also, sign up for e-statements for your bank. This is a great way to avoid getting those monthly statements and having to file those and wonder where to put them. You get e-statements, and then you have everything right there at your fingertips if you need to look it up, and it saves the paper. Okay, the next tip is when you get your mail, immediately decide what you're going to keep and where it's going to go. I like to think of this as touching it once. So as soon as you get your mail, throw away any trash like junk mail, ads, catalogs that you don't need, and get rid of those immediately. Don't set everything in a pile and come back to it later, because that never works out well. If it's a credit card application, I always shred or tear those up so no one gets your personal information, or any other document that you don't need that has personal information. But get rid of it immediately. So that's step one. The next is if it's a bill that you don't have set up on auto pay or e-statements, is to have a designated place where you keep your bills. I have just one spot where I put all my bills, and I put it there immediately, so I never have to look for it when it comes time to pay my bills. Here's this cubby right here is where I put all the bills that I have to pay. So there's great systems you can buy. You can buy a little mailbox, a little station for your desk or wherever you pay your bills at, like a little command center. I'll insert a picture of a cute one I saw at Michael's that would be great for you to always have the same spot to put all of your bills. And then if there are any other papers in your mail that you do need to keep, if it's something important, then you need to file it away immediately. Don't set it in a pile to do for later. That doesn't seem to work out well for most people. Now, I want to talk about the kind of filing systems to have for those papers you need. The next tip is if there are some papers that your kids bring home from school or you get in the mail or something that you do need the information, but you don't necessarily need the actual paper, there are several ways to tackle this. My kids get like a schedule, maybe of athletic events or summer activities, and I do need that to look at to know their schedule. So what I generally will do is just take a picture of it with my phone, so I have it on my phone, or any other temporary documents that you need like that. And then once that event or schedule is done with, then you can just delete the photo off your phone and you can throw away the paper when you first get it. There's another way to scan documents that you might want to keep, but you don't actually need the physical paper. There is an app called Adobe Scan, and it is on your phone, and you can scan documents and then it saves them as a PDF. And I've done that before and it works great, and then you can have access to it anytime you need it if it's something you need to keep. Also, I heard that you can use your Notes app on an Apple phone, and I had never tried that. And right before I filmed this video, I got in there and scanned a notepad that I had some notes written on, and it worked fantastic to scan it, and then it's saved in your notes and you can refer to it anytime. So I'm going to be using that one a lot more because I already use the Notes app, but now I can scan documents in there too that I need, that I want to keep for later. The next part of decluttering the paper is we need to talk about our filing systems. Now, I like to kind of think of it in 3 areas. 1, long-term, short-term, and then documents you keep forever. I'll start with the documents you keep forever. These, like, things that I consider for this are like birth certificates, social security cards, titles to vehicles, divorce decrees, marriage licenses, passports, those sort of documents that are very important that you generally keep forever until you get a new one. Those I like to put in a safe place that couldn't be destroyed, such as in a fire. So we personally have a safe in our basement that is fireproof, and we put all of our important documents like that in there to keep together. We just have a little envelope, a poly envelope with everything in it, so it's real easy to find. You could also get a safety deposit box, or you can also buy a small fireproof box. That's what I used to have before I was married, and I just had a few documents I wanted to keep. Then that's a great option. The second one is long-term files. Now, the things I keep in the long-term files are tax documents and tax papers. They say the IRS recommends that you keep all tax documents for 7 years. So I have all of ours in a small filing cabinet, and each year when I get a new tax return and my tax papers back, I put in the front of the file, and then I just take the old one from the back and take it to be shredded. So it's just an easy system for one in, one out, and I have the 7 years required. We have a small filing cabinet that I keep all those in, and then the rest of the filing cabinet is just my husband's work papers. The last filing system is a short-term file, and I actually have that right here in my kitchen. I will show you. This is my filing cabinet, and I just have various files in there. Now, I have a file in there for forms, like forms I print out that I need for later. Like I print out like a monthly menu, a calendar. I print off a bill checklist, so I just keep those in the form so I know when I need a new form, it's right there. Then I keep a school file for any papers that my kids need for school, and I keep them all in there. Then when school is over or when the activity is over, I just pull it out, throw it away. So I always know where to look for the school. And then I have a file called Need for Later. A lot of times I put like invitations or instructions or something that I know I'm going to need. I put them right there, and then later I can reference them when I need it. And then when I'm done with it, I just toss it. So those are the 3 main files I have. And then the rest of the files I have are for our bills and receipts. I really just keep those because of my husband's business. He works from home and is a 1099 employee. So we have our own business, and so those are just kept for that. If it wasn't for his business, I would not keep any of my bills and the receipts because I wouldn't need them. So I would just, toss those immediately. But, and I put those in a file. I put those in a manila envelope at the end of the year and file those with our tax papers as well for the long term. And then I have a couple other files, tax information. Anytime I get anything for taxes for next year that I need, I put it there. That way, when it's time to go to the accountant, I have everything in one file in one place, and it makes it super easy. Then I have some manuals to appliances. I don't keep all of these. I just keep them for a while till I've used the product or appliance for a while. And then if I don't know how something works, I can look at it. But big appliances now, we bought a couple in the last year. They don't even come with an instruction manual. You do it all online. So I won't have any of those to keep, and that won't be a problem. I do keep some of our medical bills and receipts in a temporary file just to make sure that they got the check and that I don't have a balance due. And then once it's been a couple months, then I toss all those receipts and I don't need them. And you should keep those if you need those for your taxes, but we don't need those for ours. So wanted to show you my desk area, and this is generally how it looks. That blue binder over in the corner is my planner. And I don't use it as much for a calendar, but it has a weekly planning section, and I just write down my daily to-dos that I need to get done, and such as paying a bill and that. These little cubbies up here, we all kind of have our own, but this is our main one where our bills are. And then this one has kind of our supplies for that. So, and up here I have some files, some binders. I do get statements for my husband's business and for another business that I'm the treasurer for. But if it weren't for those 2 things, I wouldn't get any statements. It just makes it easier to have the paper ones when I go to do our year-end tax information. I will say also, I have gotten rid of all of my recipe books and recipe cards, and I have moved all of my recipes online to an app called Copy Me That, and I actually love it. It is so nice because you can access it from your phone. So if you were at the store, you can look up your recipe right on their phone and see the ingredients that are required. So I don't have any of those, and I don't usually print recipes out like a recipe card. I do have a binder you might have saw in my cabinet, and those are the recipes we use all the time. So I go into that app and print the ones that we use all the time. That way when we're cooking, we have it right there. If my husband wants to use it and doesn't want to look it up on his phone. So that saves me a lot. Most of my recipes I have saved on Pinterest or Facebook. And so I will try it before I will print it and actually put it in that binder because I don't know if we're gonna like it. So that just works well, and there's not extra recipes sitting around or cluttering the space up. I would just encourage you to find a space that you can dedicate to getting your file system in order. Not everyone has a built-in desk like I do, but they make nice file boxes that you could use for your short-term filing, and then you could just use a paper box to put your long-term files in, such as your tax papers. And if you have a paper box, then that should be enough to keep 7 years worth of taxes and other documents in, that you can just always go in and put your new file in and take out the old one. And then just set up a command center where you put your bills and you have your envelopes and your stamps and things you need to pay bills. And I generally just pay bills once a month because of the timing of when our bills come in. So it's very easy and they're all in one spot and I never miss a bill. Avoid late fees and those sort of things by being organized and having it in one spot. I know there's another method out there called the Sunday basket, where you create some files and just throw it all in there and then just do it once a week. And I think that could work great for some people. If you want to Google it or look on YouTube, there's a lot of videos about it. Me personally, I just know I don't function that way and I would not like that. So that's not something I wanted to do. So you just have to find what works best for you and develop a system and stick to it. And, you know, as things change, you can change how you do it and figure out what works better. But my best tip though is to avoid the paper coming in. If you can do that, you've solved half the problem. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Have a great day. Bye.